it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I'm back today to finish working on my Stamperia. I just discovered that I was pronouncing the company name wrong when I was over at CHA. Instead of Stamperia, it's Stamperia, and this is the Spring Botanical. So I'm working on this album, and I realized today when I sat down to do my recording that I actually cut apart the cover page, which I normally do on the Stamperia because I want to use all the components, but I don't have a cover sheet to show you. So I am working on Stamperia Botanical, Spring Botanical, and I have already constructed the album, and I've done that on a separate tutorial. So today I'm going to work on decorating the pages and getting the pages insert into the album. So what's been going on with me? Well, Julie and I were over at CHA, and we have some pretty exciting news. And I'll be sharing some videos of some of the new products that we think we want to carry in our shop. So I'm going to do a couple of 10-minute or less tutorials walking through some of those products to get some feedback from you guys. So we're looking forward to doing that and sharing with you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is page 1. And as I mentioned, the album was put together in a previous video. All the flaps had previously been applied to the pages, with the exception of the waterfall pages, which page 1 is. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting my mat laid down so I can add my waterfall pieces. And I'm going to give you those measurements right now. It's 4.5 by 6. 4.5 by 6 score at the either 4-inch line or 1/2-inch line, depending on how you want to look at it. And then when you're finished, you'll have a 4x6 photo mat. Okay, there'll be 4 of those. All right. I'm standing so that I can see what I'm doing, just to make sure I'm in frame, but I'm getting ready to sit down. Oh, the other exciting news I have is I splurged and I finally got a new camera mount. So I'm very excited about this, although it's a little taller than my last one, so it's making it hard for me to see what's in the frame, but I'm on my way to actually getting some professional setup here. So hopefully you guys will get the benefit of that. I'm sitting down now, and I'm going to try to remember to speak loud enough so that my voice carries, because the phone is a little further away from me than it used to be. All right, so we're going to get started. My album is, album pages are 8 by 8. The overall album is 8.5 by 8.5. All right. And because I'm working with the Stamperia, for those of you that are familiar with it, it comes with 10 sheets in a pack, and starting with their new collections, and this being one of them, the flip side of the back page and the front page both have designer patterns on it now, where it used to just be white. So you're actually getting 11 pages instead of 10, which is helpful because 10 pages doesn't stretch very far when you're doing an 8 by 8 album. So for the purpose of planning this album, for the moment, I'm using 2 packs of the Stamperia, and actually, I'm going to leave that up because I'm going to slide something under it. And I do think I'm going to when I get my 3rd pack, I'm going to come back and add some more layers, and I'll go back over that with another video. But this way you'll see what you can do with the 2 packs and what it looks like if you have that 3rd pack. And the 3rd pack is going to help me completely cover the B side of my flaps, but also give me enough material to really decorate my my inserts, which is where I tend to short everything. If I don't have enough paper to go around, that's where I cut it inside. And that's pretty easy to do by just you know, doing a 1 by 8-inch strip. Okay, there we go. So that, let me get my bone folder. So the other new thing and new exciting thing in my life is I got a puppy. And she's killing me. I forgot how much work they were. She's so cute, but she's really a handful. Her name is Nala. She's a rescue, so we don't really know what she is, but they think she's part German Shepherd. And she's about 10 weeks old, and she wants to chew on everything, including me, and that's why you'll see some of these scratches on my hands. Okay, so again, this 4.5 by 6 photo mats, we're going to cascade down on this page. And again, I didn't have a whole lot of paper, so what I'm planning to do is cover every other one with a full page, a full mat, and every other one with just a strip along the bottom. So that's my current plan. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put the mats on and the strips on the flaps before I install the flaps. And then of course the flip side is going to be left blank. And when I get my third package, that's where I would cover the backs of these. So it gives you that option, leaving it blank for a photo or putting a photo mat down if you get that third package. And what am I doing? Oh yeah, I need to ink my edges real quick. And I don't really distress my page. I just ink the edge. If you see, I'm just running it along. I just don't like that bare white edge showing. It's just not attractive to me. It's less of a distraction on a cream background than on a black background, but I just don't care for it. So I go ahead and do that. Some people just love distressing, and to me the paper's so pretty. And this collection and most of Graphic 45, excuse me, have enough distressing in the actual design of the paper that I don't feel like I need to do much more to it. So let's get this down. And I did some pre-planning, so I'm hoping I'm not going to have to stop and do any trimming, but you never know. I've got my trim board here handy, just in case. Okay, that is one. I'm going to go ahead and burnish that a little bit. My dog now has a paintbrush, so I got to go get it from her. That's not for puppy dog. I've got all your toys in here. Sorry about that. I can't seem to take my eyes off her. All right. I want to thank everyone, you know, for subscribing and also all the kind comments. I know it's been a little while since our last release, but we're going to flood you with some new designs. Oh, I've got ink on my board. Miss Christina has got some new stuff coming out pretty soon. Unfortunately, she and her family kind of got hit pretty hard with the flu season, so she's been out a little bit. And then Julie and I were out of town for a bit, and anxious to get some new content out with some of these new packages we have. So speaking of that, the two new collections that, or companies, brands, I guess is better put, that we are going to start carrying in our shop, and then there's a third one that we're looking at, is Prima. So we've got two collections up on our site right now. Havana and Amelia Rose are both up on our site at www.scrapandcreate.com. And those are two of the Prima collections. And the Prima collections, one of the things I really like about them is you get all kinds of extras. So when I say that, what do I mean? I mean, they have tickets, they have ephemera cards, they have stickers, they have chipboard. Let's see, what else do they have? They have coordinating washi tape, you name it. So there's tons of little components that come with a collection that you'll enamel dots that you can add for embellishments, which is kind of nice. So we don't sell them as a bundle, but we sell them individually. But you can pick and choose, and there's just all kinds of little fun extras to work with. And that's always fun, to me anyway. That's one of the reasons I like graphics so much, is it's got the ephemera cards, the stickers, and then the chipboard. And one of the things I think that's lacking with Stamperia is you don't get any of those extras. You have to kind of come up with and coordinate all your own embellishments, which is not bad, but takes some time. So again, Amelia Rose and Havana are in the shop right now, and they're both very beautiful. And then the other paper that I don't have in the shop yet, but you're familiar with, is 49 and Market. So 49 and Market has been in our shop for some time, and we carry their flowers, which we're big fans of because, number one, they're pretty. They're made with mold paper, which I like. Come in lots of colors. And the other thing I really like about them, the way they package is they will package multiple sizes in one in one package. And here's an example. So here's the Vintage Shades Charisse from 49 and Market, and I'm actually going to use it to embellish this album when I get to that point. But as you can see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sub packages, so the sizes range, so it's scaled from the very smallest to the very largest, and that makes it very easy for using. The other reason I like them, and if I'm trying to give you a side look, is the profile is very flat, so you can actually use it inside your album, not just on your cover. So we have been carrying the flowers for some time, and then this year at CHA we went and took a look at the paper lines that they've got coming out, and we really like them. So we are going to do a test run and see how what you guys think of it. We're gonna get some videos out of what those papers look like and some of the pricing and see what your thoughts are. The other thing that 49 and Market did this year is they developed a pre-made mini album. So we're going to be sharing that with you too and see what your thoughts are in terms of buying a finished 4-page mini album. It has some flaps on it, but you can customize it, and I'm going to use the album that they graciously gave to me to do a design project featuring one of their latest paper designs. And like I said, very much looking forward to getting some feedback from you guys on what your thoughts are. All right, enough ad time. Let's get back to design time. So I'm ready to start laying these down. Oh no, well see, this is the thing about working with cream. It's so hard. So I think I got some ink on here. Yeah, I had got some ink on my board and I messed it up. So normally that would get covered with a photo. And again, when I get my third package, I'm gonna come back and cover these anyway, because I wanna show you guys what it looks like both ways. And I just realized that I didn't put a magnet down to hold these down. So I'm gonna have to come up with some creative. That's what happens when you do all that blah blah talking. All right, I'm gonna slide this down and I'm just eyeballing it. Let's see how far my cascade's gonna come down. So as you can see, even though it's a 1-inch strip, it's gonna get fully covered by the flap on top of it. And I think I just came up with a way to cover the bottom one. Okay, that's probably a little high. I want to come down to about right there. Okay. So that's about what I want. So I'm gonna straighten it up. Look at my grid lines. It looks like I'm coming down 1.5 inches, roughly. Okay, I'm going to use my, that's another thing, reason I like this. This is that little fabric square. It's a 2-inch square, and I use it to tear my tape, but I can also use it to run across like so and verify that the distance is equal across the way. And it is. So I'm done laying that one down. The next ones are super easy because they just butt up against the one that's already there. All right, my dog's being too quiet, which means she probably has something. What do you have? What'd you find? A fork? All right. Okay. It's kind of grabbing fast on me, so I'm going to put a little glue so I can slide it right up there. So hopefully this finds everybody well for the new year, and we're so excited about all of our subscribers and amazed that you guys are just amazing. And I feel like we've grown so quickly, and it just warms my heart. So Julie and I were just talking about that last night. For those of you that don't know, Julie and I are partners in this business. We were friends for many years before we decided to go into business doing this. And Julie lives 2 doors down from me, so that makes it nice and easy to get time with her and to coordinate. We just do this because we enjoy it. We're both retired. And we just like this community so much. So this was kind of a way for us to keep doing what we like and kind of expand our horizons a little bit, meet some new people. And share some of our ideas. So, all right, so this is going to go in just like this. Get up there. Okay. There's a little bit of a bulge in the page because of the flaps on the reverse side. So that's in. And look how good I did. I'm so pleased. All my lines look great. So I forgot to put my magnet down. So here's the solution. I'm going to add a magnet here. And then what I'm going to do, instead of making this a flap on the bottom like this, I'm actually just going to trim this piece off and put my photo mat directly on the page. So it won't be a flap, it'll just be a mat. And I got my trimmer right here, so I'll just take a second, trim this tape off, and we'll get that laid down. Okay, so I just trimmed off my flap. So instead of having 4 flaps, I'll have 3 plus just a stationary photo mat. And I'm just going to glue it right down there. Okay. But it'd be a good idea to put the magnet on first. I was going to do it again. I'm having one of those days. I feel like it has been forever since I sat down in front of, or behind the camera, I guess is more accurate. So I feel a little discombobulated. So let's go ahead and get this one in first. Now, again, this will either be covered by a photo or a mat. And in my case, I'm definitely going to come back and cover it with a mat with the third package. But for you guys, you can decide what you want to do here if you're going to keep it. So if you decide you don't want to cover these, the other thing you could do is adhere a ribbon and tie a bow here. I'm a huge fan of the magnets. Not everybody is, but I am. I like bows, but then, I don't know. The challenge I have with bows is I'm such a bubblehead, I can't remember to get my ribbon down before I glue my mat down. So that's a problem. All right, so this, oops. I'm trying to get it to marry up to the magnet on the other page. But it's sticking to me and not, there we go. All right, so now I should be able to glue this down. So if you are new to the channel, I just want to talk a little bit about how I'm organizing now, because I do continue to get questions on this. So there is a thing called playlists on our channel and everybody's channel. Not everybody uses it, but I do. So I've created playlists for all of our mini albums. So if we have a mini album and we have associated tutorials, they're grouped together in the playlist. So if you go to the playlist section, you'll see a title, and say, for example, Imagine is one of the Graphic 45 mini albums that we put together. If you click on that, you'll see that there's several videos associated to that title, and that's all the videos in order to put together the album from start to finish. The exception to that might be that the base album might not be included, and then there's a separate playlist for all my base albums. So there's one for a 7x7, and 8.5 by 8.5, and 8.5 by 10.5, or is it 8.5 by 10, and then an 8 by 10. So there are playlists for just the base album, and then the playlist, if you look by title, includes all of the custom flaps, pockets, inserts that go with that particular set of designer paper. So that's how I've organized, And I don't think there's any exceptions. I think everything is on a playlist. So if you see a mini album walkthrough, go to the playlist, and if you can find its matching title, then all the tutorials are located there. There's only a few very old albums that I don't have tutorials for, and that's when I first started my channel. And unfortunately, I can't get the paper anymore, so I can't really go through those tutorials. And instead of focusing on the past, I really want to focus moving. Okay, sorry about the interruption. Had to take a phone call and had to deal with puppy duty. So I think that's taken care of for the next few minutes. So anyway, we'll get back to going over page 1. So the flaps are in. And as you recall, I put a magnet underneath this and made it a stationary mat. And put a magnet on the inside of the top flap. And I am going to go back later on my own time and see if I can't get some of that ink out, and then it looks like I'm dragging my red fingernails everywhere and leaving marks. So, all right, so that is page 1. Now we're going to flip over to page 2. Page 2 has one large flap, and then on top of the flap is a card that's going to open up. And then the flap of this envelope is going to hold everything in place. So I have to think about what I'm doing here, because I think I'm trying to decide if I want to do magnets to hold it in place or a ribbon. And I like the idea of both. So I'm thinking about that right now, and then I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to go queue up okay, I'm back. I've got all my paper organized, and this one's a little bit complicated, but it'll be fine. So this one is going to feature a card mat on top of the first flap here. And then on the base page, I'm going to add this envelope, which will close over all the flaps and hold everything secure. So I'm gonna start by placing all the paper that goes on the base. Then I'm going to add my envelope so that I can place the magnet on the outside. So let's go ahead and get that started. So what I chose for the inside is this paper, which is going to go on the inside of the top flap. And then this is going to go on the base here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sit down and try to remember to speak up so you guys can hear me. I'll move these out of the way. And while I was away, I went ahead and got all my inked edges on, so all I've really got to do is add some glue and lay these down. And then there'll be a little bit of placement with regard to the envelope. So it'll just take me a second to figure out how I want that to fit before I attach the magnet. I got to make sure, yeah, this is up and this is up, directional pattern here. So I want to make sure I don't put it in upside down. I'm just sliding it to, it's a little high. And I don't want to get too close to the score line and then have it get caught up on the page, the flip side. So I'll burnish this down a little bit. I like the way this is turning out, but I have to say I'm not used to working with cream, so it's kind of a change for me. I think that it's beautiful, and I think the paper really shows well on cream. Having said that, black can hide a multitude of sins. It makes it harder to see the score lines. It's harder to see where you've attached your flaps. So I think that cream, although it's beautiful, is a lot less forgiving. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're planning your albums. And for the most part, if I can, I choose black for that reason. Also, cream is just, it's hard to keep clean while you're working on it. Okay, So there's two pieces here, and the reason I did this design was, as much as I love this pattern, it doesn't really go with the pattern that I chose for the top. So these two next to each other was really not going to work. So that's why I went ahead and found a better coordinating piece to go here, and that's why it's pieced. It also helps the paper stretch. So I guess, and as you can see here, this is the back of the front page, so you can use every single page of the package. Okay, now this is down. So the next thing I want to do is figure out the placement of my envelope, and I think I want it to stick out just a bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is, hey, sorry about that. My sister was calling me. I guess I'm just a popular person today. So, and I expect my phone to go off one more time. My husband is in Texas, and he's got to call me to let me know if he's going to be able to get a flight home. Due to all the inclement weather, I think flights are being canceled all over the place. So chances are I'm going to have to hop up one more time. But hopefully, I'm hoping I can get, I have to trim this down. I thought I was done, but it's a little too wide. Hopefully I can get this page done before I get interrupted again. Still needs a little more, and then I'm going to have to come back and ink it real quick. That's not straight. Okay, quick ink on the edge here. I'll get some glue and get this down. And then this card's going to go on top. So the magnet, the matching magnet for the envelope is actually going to go on the card. And I'm not sure, so I'll do it again. I think I went over the flap size in the first video, but I'll tell you what it is again, and then I'll tell you what the card size is. Okay. So this flap is 6.5 by 8, 6.5 by 8, and it's scored at 1/2 inch. So we have a finished flap of 6 by 8, and it is attached to the left-hand side of page 2. And like I said, I think I went over that when we actually installed it originally. Okay, so now this photomat card flap is going to be installed here. It's my designer paper that goes on top. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this, get it placed, place my my envelope, and then before I put this mat on here, I'm going to attach a magnet somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and place this first, and I think I'm going back and forth. I'm thinking I want this to be kind of symmetrical, not off center. So therein lies the challenge with designing weeks in advance of actually constructing it. Okay, so I'm ready. I think I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to turn it sideways so that I can just view it from 3 of the 4 sides before I glue it down. You know what? Do I want to do? Yeah, I'm going to do glue. I was trying to decide if I want to do glue or tape. Okay, and this card is the whole card is 8 by 6, and it's scored in half. 8 by 6 scored in half. So you have a finished 4 by 6 photomat / card. Okay, scoot this down. You may be seeing the top of my head. I don't know. All right. Okay. That is in. Okay, this is going to go like this. And I need to put something on top so it doesn't stick until I'm ready. Okay, now this time I'm going to turn it this way. So we're going to have a magnet on the card, and that's what's going to hold the card closed, and also the flap for the envelope. So there's a natural line on the envelope right here and here, and so I think I'm going to match that line up and have that be where the flap is, where it's attached. So it's going to have a slight exposure. Now I actually made this myself because I couldn't find an envelope that matched, which you don't have to do. And in fact, it's made out of cardstock, so it's kind of heavy. The other thing you could do is look for a contrast envelope, which I think would be very pretty, and then you don't necessarily have to cover it with designer paper. So it's just some thoughts. I've not really designed with envelopes before, so I was kind of making it up as I go, so to speak. So, okay, this is going to get adhered to the inside base pocket. And then we'll add the magnet. Okay. So I'm going to want this about right there. So that's what it's going to look like roughly. I think that's it. Okay. It's a little crooked, so I'm going to slide it just a tad, but it was pretty darn close. All right. Now the other thing you can do is, you know, do some pencil marks so that you know where you're lining up to. I think I planned this and I forgot about it, but if you only adhere three of the four sides on this, you could have had a pocket here, and I'd forgotten I had designed for that. I should write myself more notes. Okay, so now we have our envelope installed. We've got our card here, and so I'm ready to close everything up and adhere the mate of the magnet here. And then I'm going to cover it up with this piece of paper, which is already inked. So this is like a lot of my albums where I repeat patterns, so you'll see this page again. It's constructed exactly the same. I even use the same designer paper, and that'll be on page 7. So if you want to pause it and just do page 7 now, rather than wait through the end of the video, you can. But I will reconstruct page 7 from the bottom up again, so that you can see it. And I'm almost done. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to cover the top of the envelope, and then we are done with this page. Okay. There we go. I like it. I like it. So this opens up, this opens up, and this opens up. And we got one more paper that needs to go here. It's a little too big, so I need to trim it down. Looks like I'm trimming it about 1/8 of an inch, but we shall see. A little more. Too close to the hinge. That should do it. And it does. I'm going to ink the edge and get it in. And then page 1, page 2 is done. Okay. And I think I like the trim on the bottom. So I flip it upside down. And for those of you that aren't familiar, I'm using my art glitter glue, which I love. And then the tip we sell in our shop, and I love it too. I'm terrible about losing the pen for the fine tips, and you get this nice cap that is easy to see, hard to lose, worth every penny. Okay. Okay, we're in. Beautiful, beautiful. And that is the end of page 2. Now, like I said, when I come back with the third pack, I'm going to be doing things like covering the inside of this, and I may decide to put something on the inside of this too. I think it'll make it look more finished, although it's really not required. That's the end of that. So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to attach all the pages inside the albums at the very end. Okay, so that was page 2. Here's page 3. Page 3 is has 2 pockets on the outside. It opens up and we've got some space inside. So this is going to go on the inside, and you'll see it matches nicely. And then I think I can't remember now how I did these, but yeah, I think it's like that. So these will go cover the top and pockets. Do I want it this way? I think I like it a little bit better that way. And then this piece is going to go on the inside. So we are going to need a magnet to hold everything in place. So let's go ahead and figure out where those are going to go. So we know we need one on the flap. The flap is 6.5 by 8, just like page 2. 6.5 by 8, score at 4. No, score at 1/2 inch. 6.5 by 8, score at 1/2 inch. Okay, now we need our opposing magnet. It's so thick, did I get 2? No, it's just one. About like 2 magnets. And again, I like to put tape over the top. It softens the edge against the paper, and the lighter the paper is that you're working with, the more obvious the magnet is. So you may want to consider that when you're laying your magnets down and cover them to soften the edges. Okay, so those are in. All right, so this goes on this side, and this is going to go here. So I'm going to verify by doing a quick dry fit that I don't need to trim. And if I don't, I'll just lay this one down quickly. It looks like it's a little tight to the spine, which could cause some interference when opening and closing the page. So I'm going to shave a piece off. Not a lot, just a little. Maybe 1/16 of an inch is what I took off. And I'm going to try that one more time. Yes, I like that better. Okay, this is almost ready. Got to ink it, lay it down. This one will go much faster. The other one was a little complicated, and quite frankly, like I said, so much time has passed between the design and the construction that I forgot the order I was putting the paper down on. So I had good intentions, but that little puppy dog has sort of disrupted things around here, so I can't, it's hard for me to even get an hour without her crying. And I can't stand it. She's got my number. It'll be a little better when my husband gets back. I can spend some time with her. All right. Let me burnish that real quick. Okay, and this goes on this side, and I'm actually going to flip it around so this distressed edge is on the outside. I'm going to dry fit and trim if needed. And it looks like I do need to trim because it is actually past the score line. do. Yep. I may have mentioned it before, but the ink that I use is called Powder Puffs. We don't sell it, but I really recommend it. Quick Quotes is the company that sells those, and I really like it. It's not nearly as messy as alcohol inks. So yeah, and it goes on kind of powdery, so it's not super juicy. And I've dropped it on my carpet and it hasn't left a mark. I also found with just plain rubbing alcohol, it comes right off my cutting mat if I drop it. And one will last a long time. I don't try to coordinate my ink colors. I just buy browns to give it a distressed look. And I think I've been working off. Oh, am I in the? I am. Shoot, it's actually inside the score line, so that's no good. I didn't trim it enough. Let me go back and trim it one more time. Let's see, will it work now? I'm gonna have to re-glue it, but I think it is gonna work this time. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Freshen up glue here. Anyways, like I was saying, I think I've used one for 6 months, and no, probably more like 9 months. Long time. And I do a lot of albums in 9 months, so. Okay. Just looking for a good, nice, even border. Varnish. Okay, that's done. Okay, so there's the inside of page 3, inside of the flap, and now I've got to cover these 3, and I think I've trimmed them. Yeah, it looks like I have. So this is going to go on the outside. These 2 are actually going to slip slightly inside the pocket. If I recall, I trimmed them. Yeah, I have. Okay, good. So I need to ink 3 of these sides, because only 3 are going to be exposed. All right. Slide this down. Yeah. I need a piece of contrast up here so I can see where the edge of the pocket is. Oh, don't dry on me. I'm not ready. Okay, I'm just using my bone folder to get it to pick up a little. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and put this one down. this is the last one. This one's has some orientation, so I'm just verifying that it is in the right order. And I didn't trim this one down, but it was a little harder to slide in than I thought. So I'm going to actually trim this one down a little bit, so I don't have to work so hard to get it inside the pocket. That looks good. This way it'll only have, oops, maybe a 1/4 inch inside the pocket. So I don't have to worry about it getting hung up. Okay. I just panicked. I thought I had forgotten to turn the record button on. But I didn't. Thank goodness. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this is a nice deep pocket. It goes all the way down to the bottom, and then this pocket is a little bit more shallow. So as part of the collection, Stamperia always gives you a page with lots of tags, and then another page that had all this beautiful ephemera and cut-aparts. And so these cut-aparts will be inserted into the pockets when I'm finished. That's still in process, so I won't focus on that right now. We're going to flip over and go to this is page 4. Page 4. Page 4 and 5 are mirrors of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that over. Here we go. So they open away from each other, and then this opens up as well. So this is kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and actually construct these side by side, since they are mirror images of each other and they're in sequence. So there's page 4, and here's page 5. So I'm gonna cut away for a second and get all my paper organized and come right back. Okay, I'm back and I'm organized, and I made a decision while I was away. So this top flap is not adhered, and I had left it this way, trying to decide if I wanted to use ribbon or a magnet, and I am going to use ribbon. So I went away and also cut myself 4 pieces of ribbon that are about 10 inches a piece, and we're going to go ahead and start laying these out. Like I said, I'm going to do them side by side since they are mirror images of each other. I think that'll be easy enough. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the top flap, the inside and the outside. And the other thing I did while I was away is I went ahead and inked everything. So I'm going to double check and make sure, yes, both pieces are in frame. And my little puppy dog's taking a nap, so hopefully I can get at least these 2 done, and maybe a little more. Okay. So I'm sure I covered it in the construction of the album, but the top flap is 5 by 7.5. 5 by 7.5. Actually, I'm going to double check that measurement. It could be, I can't remember if I wanted a 5 by 7 finished. Yeah, it's 5 by 7.5, and score a 1/2 inch along the 7.5 inch side, so you have a finished photo mat 5 by 7. Okay, so that one's in. So we're going to do this side. Double checking to make sure I inked. I did. And I couldn't resist. I loved this picture. So they're not exactly the same, but very similar. contrast under here because it's really hard to see all the edges. There we go. Much better. Black is tough, but cream is darn near impossible. My eyeballs just can't quite see the edges. Okay, so that's done. So next we're going to do the inside of both of those flaps. And it's going to go here. And this will go here. And then there's also a small trim piece that's going to go on the bottom of each of these. Let's set these aside. All right, let's double check my fit. Let's see, do I want that? I like it this way, yeah. So it's gonna go this way. Okay, so as per usual, I'm gonna turn everything upside down so I can see the edges better. And that's gotta be somewhat frustrating for you guys, but honestly, I can't. If I try to see the top edge, what happens is all you see is my head. So that's no good either. Okay. Okie doke. Again, this is Stamperia, also known as we've been calling it Stamperia, but it's Stamperia. They corrected us. And the collection is Spring Botanic. And I really like it. Although all the collections that came out in the last month or so are so awesome. There's an Alice collection. I love it. Christine's going to do something for us in that. I can't wait to see it. It's really fun. I think that's going to turn out to be one of our more popular collections with this company. So, okay, I'm just dry fitting to make sure it's going to fit and not interfere with the hinge. It does. And you'll see that I've done some piecing, and actually it was, some of it's for fun, others it's necessary. If you're going to try to make this album using only 2 packs, you're going to have to do a fair amount of piecing to get everything covered. Well, to get most everything covered. You still won't get everything covered. That's why, like I was saying earlier, I'm going to come back with a 3rd pack and cover my exposed cream cardstock so that you can see what it looks like if you have 3 packs and using the same design. All right, so that is done. So now I'm going to turn them all around so that the top is at the top again. There we go. So that's what we've done so far. We've covered the outside and the inside. And now we're going to lay down these 2 big mats. And this is some of my favorite paper in the collection. And we're going to need to adhere our ribbon before we put down these mats. So there's going to be ribbon for both pages. And it's going to be attached directly to the cream cardstock, and then we'll lay this on top of it. And I need to eyeball where I want the ribbon. I'm going to just use my little pencil here to put a tick mark, because I don't want it too high up on my design. So that's where it's going to be. Let's measure that real quick. crooked to me, so maybe it's because of that. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna double check one more time. That's 2 1/4. It is crooked, 2 1/4. So it actually needs to come down just a little. Just a little. Okay, so now I've got these little tick marks here, and it's basically 2 1/4 from the tick mark to the bottom of the flap, because I want my ribbon to be tied right around the bottom of the overall flap. I'm going to adhere the ribbon with tape because glue doesn't work really. This is too wide. I think I've got some 1/4 inch tape, yeah. And I just have to make sure that I don't go too close to the edge, because there'll be a slight margin once I get my mat in, so I don't want to have tape sticking out. Okay. Good enough. I'm going to burnish these real quick. Got so much glue on my fingers, I'm transferring it to the tape. It doesn't look good. Okay. And I'm just trying to make sure I have a relatively straight line. It's not going to be that significant. But it doesn't hurt to try. Okay, now I am ready to put down this mat. So I'm going to go ahead and get my glue on here and get this down. And we can tie a ribbon around the top flap, and the top flap will be done. Make sure your paper's glued down first, not to tug too hard. Oh, that's my puppy talking to me in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. So I'm going to have to run off and go take care of that in just a second. So much glue on my hands, everything's sticking to me. Okay, so that is what this finished flap is going to look like. And so we're going to do the same thing over here. And then I also still have some stuff to cover on the inside, but pretty much the top of this is done. So we're going to move back over to this side, and we're going to get our ribbon in, and we decided it was we're going to go down 2 1/2 inches or 2 1/4 inches from the edge of the top flap. Put my little tick mark. That doesn't seem right. It's not, because I did it at, oh, okay, 2 1/4 from the bottom. From the bottom. And when I say a bottom, I mean the bottom of the page here. There we go. 2 1/2. And this is really, this is pure preference, right? Where you want to put it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to need some tape on both sides. If I can find there it is. I can find it. Poor me. Can you hear her? Poor me. She's getting a little bit bigger now. That didn't go on very straight, so I'm going to use another piece. So she's sleeping less, but still full of energy, so it's a handful. Okay, get our ribbon laid in. Okay, what did I do with my other piece? Here it is, I dropped it on the floor. There we go. And now this is inked and ready to go. And I think I already dry fit, so we can go ahead and lay this down. And then we can do the inside. Okay, let that glue dry a little, and then we can tie our bow. The ribbon's a little stiff. There we go. There we go. So we have the tops done for both of these, and so the next pieces are on the inside, and it is held shut with magnets, which we placed earlier. And then we've got 3 components to the inside. There we go. So I'm going to start with this base piece. I'm just going to do a quick dry fit, make sure that I can close, and I can. So easy peasy. Oh, so pitiful. Okay, in. And then. Yep. Okay, getting close. I'm gonna go ahead and close this, set this aside so I can scoot this over and finish this. All right, so I left this open-ended in anticipation of needing to lay down this mat, which I think we're ready to do. Dry fit it real quick. And it looks fine. And I know you guys are seeing the top of my head because I'm leaning over so far, but when it didn't go down straight, so I'm going to lift it and straighten it real quick. Hopefully the glue is still wet enough to stick. I think it is. Yeah, it's staying down. Okay, so now we can go ahead and take the tape off these edges and lay it down. Maybe. There we go. And then this is going to go right here. Okay, we are finished with page 4. So I really like the way this turned out. I think this is very pretty. I think it's funny. I always design from the center of the book out, and invariably the center page is my favorite. So, okay, so we have to do that one more time on this side. Quick dry fit, make sure everything is going to fit, and it looks good. Get some glue on it and get our tape off. And this completes page 4 and 5. So we're making some good progress. We are making progress. So I just laid my hand down in the, this time I'm going to turn it around. I didn't last time and I regret that. Okay, it's in. I can take off these little strips. And lay the pocket down. All right, I'm gonna have to take a break after this because my dog's not having it. She's growling at me now. It's kind of funny. Probably not to her, but kind of funny to me. All right, so this concludes page 4 and 5. I will be back soon to work on page 6. Thanks, everyone.